What is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today is Thursday, March 30th, and if the title doesn't give too much away, April 2nd, so Friday's 3 days from now, we are going autocrossing. So this will be this car's first time autocrossing, and it'll be my first time autocrossing in a long time. So we're gonna kind of break this up into a two-part series, kind of a beginner how-to. First thing what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna kind of show you guys what you have to do to get your car ready to autocross. You know, people think autocrossing is a scary thing that puts a lot of strain on your car and you need to have a super special car to do it, and oh, my car's not good enough to autocross, and it's a bunch of lies. You can autocross anything, I promise. I've been to enough to where I've seen literally everything autocross. So we're gonna kind of go over the tech sheet, what you have to do to prep your car, and yeah, past that, so let's just get talking about it. Alright guys, this is actually going to be kind of a special autocross. Not only for me because it's my first time driving this car, but I kind of wanted to really make this a first time experience. So if you've never done autocross in your life, what's it feel like? What's going through your head? How do you set up? How do you mentally prepare? And just what it's like, you know, having your car on the track for the first time. Because, you know, if you've got some track experience, you know that the first time you go out is terrifying. So being as I have some experience and I've, you know, done this a little bit, I am not a great candidate to show you what a first time, you know, track experience looks like. So here comes the plot twist. My fiance, I have signed her up. We're gonna be tandem driving my car. So, I mean, you'll still see me driving it, and, you know, I'll kind of give you guys, you know, some of my thoughts on how the car performs, and just some different things to look through. But as far as a first time experience, you guys are gonna get to watch her race my car. We spent all day yesterday driving around. She finally floored my car for the first time the other day. And she said, ooh, that was fun. So it's gonna be interesting. So that's what I'm doing today. We're just gonna make sure the car is ready to go. We're in a big empty parking lot. So let's get into it, and I'll show you guys exactly what you guys are gonna be looking for when it comes to getting your car ready for. All right guys, so I have this pulled up on my phone, and this is something you guys can look up too. This is SCCA's website. So if you guys don't know, most autocross and solo events, that's what autocross is called, is done through the SCCA, which is the Sports Car Club of America. So if you just jump on Google, and there's a million different things it can tell you, but the easiest one is to jump on their website, and here it is right here, Solo Tech 101 before you show up. So it kind of gives you just a breakdown of every single thing that they're going to be looking for when you line up and when you tech your car. So what I'm going to do right now is let's just go through the list of what they're looking for, because obviously that's what's important, and I will show you guys on my car how everything's going to be looking. Alright guys, so the very first thing these guys are going to want to do is they're going to want you to pop your hood, and that's because they're going to be looking for your battery. So they're going to be looking for two things on your battery. One, that the battery is tight and it's not moving, and that's kind of an obvious one. You know, if you've ever picked up a battery, you know, they normally weigh, you know, probably 20-30 pounds, so you don't want a 20-30 pound block coming loose and flying around places. So that's the first thing they're going to check. And the second thing they're going to be looking for is these battery terminals. Or you're going to want to make sure that both of these are down super tight. You know, most cars you don't have any issues anymore, but the last thing you want is, you know, a terminal to spark and there be any kind of fuel or oil anywhere and it catches on fire, and then if your car catches on fire, that's what you call a bad track day, and obviously you don't want that. But on a more positive note, them engine covers though. Anyways, moving on. Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to be looking for moving inside the car is your seat belts. So one of two things, either that you have a, you know, good locking seat belt, or if you're cooler than I am, you have a harness. But just to be safe, now a lot of times they don't check a lot of things, so it just depends on where you go. But if you do have a full harness, like I said, if you are a lot cooler than me and you have a harness, make sure it's mounted right. Make sure you have a good harness mount, and everything's mounted in the right places. Obviously you don't want to be sloshing from side to side inside the car. So seat belts, number two important thing. So the number three thing these guys are going to be looking for is loose objects. So as you can tell, I am a perfect example of what not to do. You don't want, you know, belts or shoes or anything like that inside of your car. Sorry, my car's a mess. But that's it. So make sure you have everything loose out of your car for obvious reasons. If you guys have ever seen Mythbusters, you know that loose objects in a car can become hazardous. So you don't want anything loose in your car, and that goes for the floor mats as well. To my knowledge, the SCCA was thinking about getting rid of the floor mat thing. You can keep your floor mats in your car, but you know, the whole theory behind not wanting floor mats in your car is, you know, if they move around, you don't want them to get bunched up behind the pedal, behind the brakes. You can't hit the brakes and you crash and die. So make sure before you go, just the night before, get everything out of your car, everything that you don't need. Now, everything you do need for the day, you know, chairs, cooler, stuff like that, put in your trunk, because when you grid up in the paddock, you'll be able to take all your stuff out and set up your own little campsite and stuff like that. So I'll show you guys that on Sunday. Like I said, as far as anything inside the car, just make sure you clean it out the day before. You don't want to have to deal with a ton of crap, you know, cleaning out your closet of a car, you know, when you're trying to focus on 10 other things going on, like I said, especially if it's your first time. So make sure you clean out your car. Alright, so the next thing they're going to be checking pretty hard is the running gear itself. So they're going to spend a lot of time on both of the front wheels. So they're going to be looking for really 3 things. 1, lug nuts. Make sure they're tight before you go. Night before, make sure you tighten all your lug nuts down. That's important. Don't want a wheel falling off. I've had it happen. That's a bad thing. Never autocrossing. It wasn't my fault, but I've had a wheel fall off before, and it was interesting and not fun. Secondly, the brakes. A lot of newer cars, you're not going to have this issue. Let me see if I can brighten this up for you guys a little bit. Really, all you're looking for is just on your rotors, just make sure you don't have any cracks in the rotor, because, you know, cracks in the rotor, you don't want a rotor to shatter under any kind of heavy braking. And the last thing they're going to check is going to be your wheel bearings and tie rods. Again, it's going to vary based on 1, who texts you, and 2, what kind of car you have. If you have a 2016 car, they're not going to check it as hard as if you have a Miata or something a little bit older. So you're going to see them do 2 things. You're going to see them shake your wheel left and right, checking to make sure your tie rods are tight. If they aren't tight, there's going to be a little play there, and then they're going to see them try and shake your wheel up and down, and that's going to, you know, and that's going to check your wheel bearings to make sure there's no play in your wheel bearings. So those are 2 things they're going to check up there, making sure your front suspension's tight. You know, especially autocross, there's a lot of hard, fast twists and turns. Last thing you want is for your whole front suspension to be all loosey-goosey. So they'll be checking that. So the next thing these guys are going to look at is going to be your helmet, and they're going to be checking for 2 things on your helmet. 1 for the rating of the helmet, and 2 for the age of the helmet. So your rating is probably going to be one of 2 things. It's either going to be an M rated helmet, which is a motorcycle rated helmet, which most helmets are, or it's going to be an SA rated helmet. And the SA is just a little higher rated helmet, has some more fire retardant and materials inside of it and stuff like that. So normally autocross only ever needs an M rated helmet. To my knowledge, that's in Texas. I don't know if it changes anywhere else. You normally only need an SA helmet if you're going, you know, on a full road course or something like that. And the second thing they're going to look for your helmet is there's going to be a year. It's going to be like M 2010 or M 2005 or M 2015. Helmets are made in a 5-block period. So my helmet that I have, I don't have it with me or I'd show it to you, is an SA 2010 helmet, and most helmets are good for 10 years. So my helmet is good to run on the track until, you know, 2020 pretty much. So make sure you just check both of those things. Like I said, a lot of times they have helmets you can rent there, so you don't really have to worry about buying a helmet. But if you are going to bring your own helmet or go buy a helmet, most new helmets, obviously all new helmets are going to be the current, you know, rating. But if you're buying a used helmet or a helmet at a pawn shop or something like that, just make sure you're buying the right year helmet, because they'll get you on that. Okay, so the next most important thing they're going to be looking at, and this isn't really something they're going to be looking at so much as you need to have prepared before, is what class your car is going to be running in. Most stock classes are pretty easy to distinguish what your car's running in. And by stock, I mean, you know, you haven't really modified your car to death. You know, autocross is real finicky with their classes and rules. There's a million of them. And seriously, little things like an exhaust or a short throw shifter or different brake pads or anything like that can throw you in a different class. So, and honestly, a class doesn't matter too much if you're not wanting to be competitive. And I mean competitive as in you're going to travel with, you know, the SCCA and do the full season, all kinds of races, you know, then you have to care about your class. If you're doing it one weekend, a month, 2, you know, one every couple months, you don't really need to worry about your class, more for fun. The only thing that I will tell you about your class, and again, this is different in Texas and other places, convertibles for autocross don't need a roll bar. Some do. I know definitely on big tracks, every convertible is required to have a roll bar. So, like I said, I know Texas, it could all be the same. I could be just rambling about Texas for nothing. But in Texas anyway, you don't have to have a roll bar driving a convertible. So just look into your class. Okay, guys, so the last thing that you need to make sure you have on your car, again, you can do it the morning of, you don't need to do it the night before, is make sure you have the numbers put on the side of your car. Blue painter's tape will work. That's what everybody uses. I've got magnetic numbers that my dad bought me as a Christmas present, so that's kind of cool. But you don't need this. Blue painter's tape is perfect. So your number has to have two things. One, your number. When you sign up to Autocross, be it online or at the event, you pick a number. It can be any number you want. Pick your favorite one, I don't care. That needs to be on the side of your car. It needs to be a good size, you know, make it take up, you know, 70-80% of the door. That way, you know, it could be seen from like 50 feet away, is I think what they asked for. So it needs to have two things. So you have to have the number, and then the bottom right corner of your number right after it needs to be your class. So my number is 23. And then and my class is FS. So I'll have my sticker on there, so it'll say 23, and then I'll have FS at the bottom. So that way they know, okay, look, this is that car number 23 running in class FS. This is how we're gonna score them. And then at the end, you know, you normally give out, they give out little magnets and prizes for the best in class and stuff like that. Anyways, guys, that should just about do it. Like I said, I'm no expert by any means, so if I missed anything at all, let me know, put in the comments if I did miss anything, because I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this who have never done it before, who are actually interested in autocross. So obviously, if there's more information to give, and if you guys have more than I do, please give it, help me out. Other than that, that's it. My car's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Madison's terrified. So that should be the perfect combination for nothing to go wrong. Oh, and I think it's supposed to rain Sunday morning. So it's going to be a lot of fun, dude. But I'm excited. I'm sure you guys, a lot of you guys know, Riley's gonna be going with us, so Mr. RP Productions is gonna be driving his Camaro. Frank is gonna be in his new Shelby, and then I don't know if we have anybody else going other than that. But it should be a ton of fun. I will see you guys on Sunday. I'm gonna film the whole thing, me, Madison. I'm gonna try and beat Riley. It's probably not gonna happen, his car's really good. That's it. So I got a couple days to go. Well, I looked at my watch because it's not till Sunday, but I'll see you guys Sunday. Okay, bye.